if Black Americans wear like Nigerian traditional attire, is that cultural appropriation? Or if like a Congolese girl is wearing like Nigerian attire, that's cultural appropriation.
Go that way. Hold on.
Because culture.
There are Congolese babes getting married in Nigerian
attire,
traditional clothes.
And they're like, it's okay because I'm African.
I mean, is it?
I'm not gonna ever wear Congolese traditional wear to my wedding because I'm not Congolese.
I'm not Congolese.
But I feel like should be the same.
It raises a lot of questions because then you have to look at everybody's sus.
Everybody,
but that was sus behavior because I know Congolese people have traditional African clothes. So why are you in, or you're going to Nigeria?
I've even seen East African girls doing like full Nigerian attire. And it's like, you're not Nigerian, it's not, though. Or like, even for just little things, even like, oh, I'm gonna wear like gele to my wedding. It's like, but you're Congolese. You guys don't do that.
Oh, so fabulous.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel once again. It's your girl Dumebi. If this is your first time coming across my channel, you're welcome. I do hope you decide to subscribe, and if you are a returning subscriber, you guys know that I love you. It's so good to have you here. Welcome back. So today's video is something that I actually never thought I'll be talking about, but here I am, right? So now some African countries, some African tribes are calling out other African countries for cultural appropriation. Yes. So when I came across this video, which was a reaction by a sister to clips from a podcast that was made by some Nigerian ladies talking about this, it actually sparked my curiosity, and I went searching out for other instances of this, and I was surprised to find out that this is a conversation that has been happening for a while. I saw videos from as far back as over a year ago where people were calling out some other African countries for appropriating Nigerian culture. Now, by Nigerian culture, I'm referring specifically to people from these other countries wearing the traditional attire, the cultural attire of some Nigerian tribes during their traditional weddings.
This is getting out of hand. Calling all Kenyans, calling all Congolese, calling all Africans, I beg you, please. If you are not getting married to a Nigerian and you're not a Nigerian yourself, stop dressing in cultural attire for your wedding ceremony that you are not a part of. You are not a part of. I never thought in this day I would be addressing Kenyans on this issue. I saw the Congolese do it. I saw the Congolese dressing in Nigerian attire. I saw the Liberians do it. I didn't think that the madness would travel to the east, but it has reached Kenya. What you saw was a traditional Nyombo ceremony, and a Nyombo ceremony in my tribe, that is basically the traditional wedding. What you did not see was a Nigerian bride or Nigerian groom. What you did see is two Kenyans dressing in Nigerian attire for a wedding. It's so cringe. I don't think anybody has any place dressing in another culture's attire when you're doing your culture's traditional wedding. For example, I'm Luo, by the grace of God, and I have no business dressing like a Congolese, Nigerian, South African at my traditional wedding unless I'm being married to a man from those cultures. It's bad manners. Please, we need to act, I beg you, act like you come from a culture. You are not a cultural orphan. This is just in general. I know that we're in an era of sharing is caring. I don't know how much of that I believe, but I do know that if you have a culture of your own, act like it. It is not bad to appreciate other people's cultures in certain contexts, but I'm talking specifically in this case for weddings. Act like you have a culture of your own. You are not a cultural orphan. Please. Please, because when people start insulting you and saying you don't have a culture, what will you say? Because when you're here picking and mixing and doing all this type of stuff, it looks like you don't know where you come from. If you know where you come from and you know the culture, just stick to that. Please. It is getting embarrassing. It is getting out of hand. Do not give room for people to insult you. Because when it's justified, who can come to your defense? It is not bad to admire or respect or wear, traditional clothing in appropriate context from other cultures. For example, if you're marrying into a certain culture, but please don't do this. I've been seeing this on the internet and now the Kenyans are doing it. Even if you admire somebody else's culture and you want to engage in it, there's going to be a point where it becomes disrespectful because you do not know what's going on. And from my understanding, the handshake they were doing, that is for men only. Do you see how silly they look? They're wearing Nigerian, Igbo to be specific, cultural attire, doing a greeting they've seen, but they're forgetting that that is a signifier of respect amongst men, not amongst men and women. Do you see how it becomes disrespectful now? So even if, let's just assume that they have a nice admiration for the Nigerian culture and they wanted to partake in the Igbo style wedding, it's now disrespectful because they did something inappropriate. And that's the problem. When you do something you like, this is why I do not recommend, don't do things you like. Do things you understand. Because when you understand something, you will do it respectfully. If you just like something, you will disrespect it. And this is just an example of non-Nigerians becoming too overzealous and too enthusiastic about trying to participate in a culture they don't know about. And I would say this for any culture, whether it's Nigerians, South Africans, Southern African countries, any culture. I'll just say, just please don't go there anyhow. It's gonna be bad manners.
Now, if you're African, you know that we have different weddings we do over here. So now I can name about 3 weddings that Africans, or specifically Nigerians, let me talk about what I know that our people do. So we have our traditional wedding, which basically involves the cultural rites that pertains to the tribe from which the couple comes from, or the tribe that they belong to. So it involves your families doing the customary rites that joins the couple together as husband and wife, right? So that's the traditional one. You wear your traditional attire. Everything is done according to the customs of your people. And then we have what we refer to as the white wedding. If the person is Christian, that is the church wedding. And if the person is Muslim, it's the nikah, I think. So that is the one that is the religious wedding. And then we have the legal wedding, which of course, from the name, you guys know what that is. The legal wedding, where you guys are legally bound together and stuff like that. So there are 3 weddings. So now in Nigeria, we have so many different tribes that is rich in culture. Each tribe has their own traditional cultural attire, which you're supposed to wear on your wedding day. For instance, me being an Igbo girl, I'm definitely going to be wearing an Igbo attire on my wedding day, for my traditional wedding specifically. So if I was getting married to someone from another tribe, I would wear both my own cultural attire and wear the person's cultural attire. So basically, you're supposed to represent where you come from by putting on your cultural attire and doing the wedding according to the customs of your people. So it is a way to showcase your culture. It is a way to celebrate your culture. There's just a lot of beautiful culture, beautiful tradition. It is a whole fanfare. If you've ever been to a Nigerian wedding, you know that we don't play with those outfits, with our culture. We don't play with it. So a lot of people have come out to make videos about this situation, and I think the conversation was sparked by a podcast that was made by 2 Nigerian ladies discussing this issue, and people now came to give their 2 cents about it. But even before the podcast, people had actually been calling out other people for wearing other people's cultural attire for their wedding. So I'm just going to go right ahead and play people's videos in respect to this.
I'm so happy that we are finally touching on this subject. So I've always wanted to mention it, but I didn't want to be, didn't want it to be like I was being mean to people. I've developed this bad habit where they appropriate Nigerian culture, specifically Yoruba culture, and it's just not nice. I get it. We have the lace, we have the gilly, it looks good on us. A lot of us tend to be the popular lot within friendship groups and society as a whole. However, if we don't see your other cultures, we start to look like the only culture that there is. This is an example of what I sometimes see on YouTube. I'm not going to pick on anyone in particular. I'm just going to use random pictures. This couple here. Now imagine them turning around and telling you, no, we're from Ghana. Excuse me? And imagine them turning around and saying, oh no, we're Yoruba. It's not making sense. You see where I'm going with this? Even to the traditional actual process. Why am I seeing a lot of Yoruba processes and I'm not seeing your own culture of how you receive your bride?
So basically, there was 2 Nigerian women on a podcast, and they spoke about how it's cultural appropriation for Congolese person to wear a gele or the traditional attire at a Congolese wedding, which I totally agree. And then she quoted saying that she wouldn't wear a Congolese attire, which makes totally sense. It's not shady, but I was just like side-eye. At the end of the day, I don't think Congolese women bazaiki educated enough, because I think they thought it was a trend and also it was a phase. So basically, you cannot bola tabila mana bangote because there's significance behind it. In any other culture attire, there is significance, even with Congolese attire. So you ozola tabilama batu o eza bisote eza soni omenti ba komo seka biso na podcast c'est normal te. And I feel like I'm gonna side it again with Congolese just a little bit, but I just want to say, because we didn't have much media attention or representation, it kind of made them insecure and felt like, because everybody is saying the Nigerian attire, we should also wear it. There's not enough representation. Like Bastar Nabiso Bazalaba artists. Like in Nigeria, you get influencers. There's a lot of influencers. You get a lot of content creators. In Congo, we only have like Nella Rose, Kenza, Didi Stone. We have less representation. So I do understand, but now that we're starting to trend on TikTok, I am seeing more representation. And I'm gonna say the Congolese girls are about to be proud. I saw a lot of Congolese attire, and I'm so in love. I can always do bala, so I can also wear Congolese attire. But at the end of the day, so kina Monica ka Congolais. Yafi, a Latin Nigerian attire without marrying a Nigerian. And I feel like even if you're marrying a Nigerian guy, still wear your Congolese attire. Represent. Ya kolata bilamane, yo lata yo. Be proud of who you are. At the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie or act like a hypocrite. I also used to be insecure about a lot of things of being Congolese, but because of lack of representation. And now that we're getting representation, I am very proud of being Congolese.
That's cultural appropriation.
Hi, my name is Echa. I have a YouTube channel called A Diary of Congolese Woman. I'm going to address the girl's comment using Australia as my case study, and also using these 2 topics: identity politics and the danger of it all, and just the simple one, the basic economic principle of supply and demand, because I believe this topic has nothing to do with cultural appropriation, but everything to do with the basic principle of supply and demand, especially in Australia where I live. And let's just start with supply and demand. Okay, we know this as simple economic principles. The majority of Black Africans living in Australia are Nigerian, Zimbabwean, and Kenyan. Now we have the South Sudanese community, and we also have the Congolese community that is growing. The Somalis and Ethiopians, they're also growing. Those are some of the communities among the Black Africans. We know the white South Africans lives here. They've been here for a very long time. We know the Northern Africans, Egyptians, they're here. They have their community, but we don't have similarities in terms of food, attires as we would do with the Western Africans. And we often acquire services from one another. For instance, our fashion are a little bit similar among the Congolese and the Nigerians, that we often use Nigerians who have been here for a very long time, set the infrastructure, and we use it, and we are proud of them. Personally, my tailor, she is a Nigerian woman, and she sew things beautifully, and I often go to her to sew me something if I want a custom-made product. Now, what's wrong with that? I demand it, she supplies it. Now, if I'm to have a wedding and I want my wedding to have a Nigerian traditional theme, why shouldn't I hire her? And save myself from the admin headache, the expenses that will come with inquiring things from Congo. Because we all know shipping things from Congo are extremely expensive. There's a lot of admin headaches and the expenses that comes with shipping things from Congo. I believe one of the issue about engaging in a topic like this topic, which is extremely ambiguous, because cultural appropriation does not have a proper meaning, and it often extremely biased and discriminatory to engage in topic like this. Now there's an influx of Congolese who are saying that they want to boycott wearing Nigerian attires at the wedding. I don't think they should. If you have someone who can supply for you, it's easy. It has nothing to do with cultural appropriation, but everything to do with supply and demand.
Is it that we just don't care anymore? Like, because as beautiful as she is, that's an Igbo bride. Like, my mind I can't understand why. Like, why would you do that? Because I know, like, Sudanese culture and Congolese, like, has beautiful attire, so just, it's cosplay.
OMG, oh my god, you guys, this is Kofi's daughter. This girl really represented our culture beautifully. Look at this. I don't know why nobody's talking about this, you guys, but I love this. I was so tired of seeing Congolese people wearing Nigerian clothes. I love Nigerians, but that's not our culture. But over here, you can do this, especially for traditional weddings. Stop wearing Nigerians if you Congolese.
Why am I seeing Isiagu at a Congolese wedding when neither the bride or groom is Igbo? I am 100% sure Congolese people have their own traditional attire, but the way you guys are always wearing our Isiagu is making us think otherwise. Igbo people have no link to Congo, for you guys to be wearing our attire, anyhow. And don't even start with that one Africa. I don't care if you have a pet goat from Igbo land, that still doesn't give you the right to wear our traditional attire.
Ridicule. Ils ont mis ça sur les réseaux sociaux pour rien. Pendant que les Congolaises sont là en train de faire la belle avec des tissus qui sont même pas les leurs. Des tissus ghanéens ou encore nigériens. Voici ce que les Ghanéens, Nigériens et presque toute l'Afrique qui voit ça pense de vous. Pourquoi les Congolais, nous, on agit, on fait les choses comme si nous, on n'a pas nos propres pannes, comme si nous, on n'a pas nos propres wax, comme si nous, on n'a pas nos propres modèles. Congolais, on a tendance à minimiser notre propre art pour valoriser l'art des autres, à minimiser notre propre culture pour valoriser la culture des autres. On trouve que l'herbe est plus verte ailleurs que dans notre propre pays. Et ça, c'est dommage. Les Congolais, il est temps de vous réveiller. Arrêtons de nous comporter comme si on n'avait pas de culture, comme si on n'avait pas de wax, comme si nous, on n'est pas africain et qu'on n'a pas... Non, 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 non. Et il est temps que ça s'arrête. Nous sommes en 2023. Il est temps que nous aussi, les Congolais, on puisse montrer ce dont nous sommes capables. Nos wax, nos modèles. Qu'on valorise notre culture un peu. On aime trop pia-pia-ter, pia-pia-pia-pia-pia. Mais lorsqu'il s'agit de vraiment faire les choses, on recule. Les Éthiopiennes, lorsqu'elles se marient, malgré que tout le monde sur les réseaux sociaux connaît la culture nigérienne et le mariage traditionnel nigérien. Mais c'est pas tout le monde qui copie, c'est toujours les Congolais. Maintenant, bon monde bazo sambu sabino. Continuez, bas sambu sabino ata parce que vous le méritez.
There are Congolese babes. I have two takes on that statement, right? The first one is going to be to my Congolese people, and I'm going to say it in Lingala because it's entre ngana you, c'est entre moi, toi et moi. But naloba Swahili te, and in français nangage. So if you don't speak Lingala, go ask your Congolese friend to, do a little bit of a translation because entre toi et moi, photo solo. Puna nini biso ba Congolais like. And I'm not trying to tear us down because there's enough of that happening. Mais pona nini biso ba Congolais to lingaka tota ba kiltira mutu mususu to copy to zwa. What happened to Kitambala? What happened to Liputa? Is that Pikitoko? And I'm gonna insert a side note. I understand that a lot of us Congolese people who grew up in Anglophone countries are not as connected to our cultures because we are influenced by the Anglophone African cultures, so mostly like West Africa. And that's why we assimilate. Metika mama, lata kitambala no eza kitoko. Lata liputa na eza kitoko. Mama nanga. Do we have a deeply rooted internal hatred for our stuff? Nalobi angope na angle. Fakina lubango na angle te. But just quick, that's just a side note. But then my second take on this, and this is going to be in English to everybody, is at the same time, regardless of what I just said, at the same time, I like to think of us as Africans as one, and I'm not saying it through like a pan-Africanist kind of view, but I'm just saying it as just the Bantu ideology and the Bantu, like, not just the Bantu system. What's mine is yours, If I see another African out there wearing something that represents something about Congo, like listening to Koffi Olomide music, or not even just listening to the music, actually just even disregard that example. the point that I'm trying to make is cultural appropriation should not exist within Africa, because we need to worry more about how our culture is being appropriated outside of Africa, and how everybody looks at us as one country, and how that culture is being appropriated. Like, we're doing a mistake by trying to focus on the inside, you know what I mean? But I get it. And you know what I mean? But at the same time, we are one. Like, I'm conflicted. What do y'all think?
So, as Africans, we know that we are one people. There are very likely similarities in our culture, in our food, in our values. You know, a lot of tribes can even probably be traced to the same ancestry, right? But definitely, we have all developed different kinds of culture that represents us as a people, that our ancestors have practiced and passed down to us from generation to generation. So I feel like when you celebrate your culture, you're honoring your ancestors, and you're also honoring the person that you are with pride and with appreciation for who you are and what your people are and what they stand for and the culture that they have built. And a very good way to exhibit this culture and to celebrate this culture is in our weddings, the way that we dress, the food that we eat, the music that we create and we enjoy. These are all ways that we honor our ancestors and celebrate our culture. So traditional weddings are supposed to be you representing your culture. So from the videos that I played, you can see that some people feel like, oh, we are all Africans, it's not a big deal. I'm going to be putting some comments on the screen for you guys to see people's opinion as I'm talking. So some people feel like it's not a big deal. Maybe I'm from so and so country and my wedding is going to be a Nigerian themed wedding. And I'm like, wow. Okay. The specific tribe that a lot of these other countries like to wear their cultural attire is the Yoruba and the Igbo tribe. Nigeria has many tribes, hundreds of tribes actually, and each tribe has their own particular culture and cultural attire. But the Yorubas and the Igbos are two of the three major tribes in Nigeria, so I can understand why they would be part of the most popular tribes that people even outside the country would know about. So now, as Africans, we share a lot of things. You see a lot of music from other African countries blowing up in other African countries. For instance, in Nigeria, we listen to Congolese music, we listen to Ghanaian music, we listen to South African music. There is usually a crossover. We share each other's cultures and everything. But why I feel like this particular thing happening is, I don't know if I would say it's problematic. It just gives me the ick. It gives me a certain kind of feeling like, I don't think I like it. It's because I feel like your traditional wedding, as far as I'm concerned, it is too sacred for you to not be authentically yourself. It is too important of a day and a ceremony for you not to be authentically yourself. It is not a day to do the costume thing. Now, I'm not saying that people cannot wear other people's attire. I'm just saying that that is a day where you're supposed to represent your culture. And you can put on a Nigerian attire on any other day. It doesn't have to be on a traditional wedding day. To me, it screams, it suggests I'm not proud of my culture. I think that other person's culture is better than mine. Because if on that day, that very special day in your life, you decide to wear someone else's cultural attire when you have your own cultural attire, what does that really say about what you think about your culture and your attire? What your people have built for themselves as their identity? Do you appreciate it? Or are you wearing someone else's cultural attire because you feel it's more beautiful or it's better or it's more superior to yours? I feel like that's the message it could be sending. Now, if I'm going to be attending a wedding of someone, I would love to see their culture. I would love to partake in their culture. If there are some things that you guys do, if you have an attire for your maidens that are going to be coming out with you, and it's definitely going to be an attire that is unique to your tribe and your culture, I would definitely want to wear that attire with you and share and partake in your culture, because that is what you guys are known for. That is how you sell yourself to the rest of the world. That is the beauty and the uniqueness of it. Why do you feel the need to use that day to promote someone else's culture that is not yours? That is just the way that I see it. I love so many other cultures' attire. I mean, on this channel, I've worn the kente, which is a Ghanaian fabric before. I have these beads also that I believe are South African, and they are so beautiful. But no matter how much I love these other cultures, My wedding day is for me and my identity and my people and what we stand for. It's my customary wedding. It's a celebration of my way of life, and I have to do that because we are going to be doing things according to our customary rights. So I feel like I can wear the South African beads that I have any other day. I could use it for maybe a photo shoot. I could wear that for an event. I could wear that any other day, but it doesn't have to be on my traditional wedding day because of what the traditional wedding represents. So now I saw people in the comment section as well saying that, oh, but we wear the white wedding gown that is not our culture for our white wedding. Yes, because we were colonized and we don't wear those white wedding gowns for our traditional wedding. We wear the white wedding gown for the church wedding, which is how we were taught to dress by the white people who set up the church in most of our African countries, the missionaries and all of that. So as far as I'm concerned, that is not a point. And funny enough, I've seen some African people who wore Ankara African print for their church wedding because that is how much of their culture they want to show. They are that proud of their culture that they're like, we're going to wear this for our white wedding. And then another thing is people were pointing out that they were doing a specific kind of handshake that Igbo people do, and it is restricted to just men. But they saw the woman doing that handshake. That is where the danger comes, where you try to participate in someone's culture that you don't really know enough about, right? You might do something in the wrong way that is offensive to that culture. So a lot of people took offense when she did that. And that is what we're talking about. You're not a part of the culture, you do not know it well enough, and you're participating in it, and somehow it is coming off as disrespectful because you're doing something you're not supposed to do. And then I saw someone also talk about, oh, what if an African American decides to wear a Nigerian? I don't know why they keep coming up with these scenarios. But if any member of the diaspora decides to wear an African attire, I think the advantage people in the diaspora have is that their DNA is a cocktail of different tribes in Africa. So what if they decide, maybe they've done their DNA and they decide, okay, out of these 6 countries that I seem to, have ancestry from, let me pick this one. I don't see that as a problem. It is still their culture. But you who is a continental African that know your culture, you know your tribe, you grew up in that tribe, you've been exposed to it, I don't think you have any reason to not represent that culture that you were brought up in. You're not a stranger to it. So in as much as they're saying it's cultural appropriation, I don't know if I will call it cultural appropriation because I think it's out of love and admiration for the culture. But I think it's detrimental to your own culture when you choose to propagate someone else's culture on your special day. That's just what I think. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. And then another thing that I have to say is that a lot of people, some of our fellow African brothers and sisters, usually take shots at Nigeria as, oh, you guys feel you're better than everyone. You guys want to dominate, you're proud and you're this. But then you see people wearing Nigerian cultural attire and refusing to wear their own cultural attire for their traditional wedding. And then you say it's Nigerians that are proud. What does that singular act of choosing Nigerian attire over your own cultural attire, what does that say about you? It says more about you than the Nigerians that you probably think are proud and domineering, doesn't it? Anyway, let me just end this conversation here. You guys let me know what you think about it. Do you think it is right that any African can just decide to make their wedding a theme from another country and put on their attire when they have their own culture that is beautiful and they should probably be showcasing instead? Do you think it's a big deal or it doesn't matter? Is it something you would do as an African? Would you wear someone else's cultural attire for your own traditional wedding? Let me know in the comment section. Also, do you think it's not a big deal? We can all wear each other's cultural attire. Or do you have the same opinion as me, which is we can all wear each other's cultural attire, but maybe not on our traditional wedding day? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.